At this point, I'm convinced Bumblebee figures have existed since essentially the dawn of time, and is a thing that we can never escape, and this box set's no different being a part of the buzzworthy Bumblebee toy line, but I'm genuinely curious as to why we get a second repaint of the Cliffjumper mold as Bumblebee. Were they just not able to take the Netflix version for this set? Was there some sort of like licensing issue between Netflix and, Volkswagen, and they were like, no, you can't take this is ours, even though the Netflix line is just well over and done with. Overall, not a bad looking figure, but where does the inspiration for the figure come from? This is the obvious obligatory repaint for this specific toy line, and I can't even say it draws inspiration from like the 2007 film, animated, Cyberverse, or classics, because two of those, classics and animated, were both hatchbacks, and then the Bayverse one was obviously bigger, and then the same thing goes to Cyberverse. So while the figure doesn't look terrible, it's just hard to pin down where it gets the inspiration for this specific look from for me. The accessory you get with this figure is the giant bazooka cannon that comes with every other version of the mold. And while it's not a terrible accessory, I am getting kind of sick of it for every single repaint of this specific mold, mostly because it only makes sense for Cliffjumper to have it. Everyone else past that, not really. Maybe just like change up the accessories, or this is just Hasbro's way to save money when producing repaints and repacks of the figures. Articulation here is pretty solid. It's not anything you haven't seen before, but one thing to note, at least on my copy, the left bicep rotation feels like it had a bit of plastic flashing in it, so I just kept twisting until it rotated, and it still gets stuck sometimes, but hey, it rotates now. So if you do pick up the box set, keep in mind that QC is not always going to be super perfect, which I've noticed with this box set particularly, QC is kind of all over the place. Transformation here, it's pretty good. It works very similar to that of the Masterpiece 1.0 Bumblebee, but the steps are kind of different here just to supplement the parts forming they added in. And to me, the parts forming isn't a deal breaker. It's not the worst thing that they have done, but I do wish they would have actually made this figure work without the parts forming, especially when you consider that they confirmed in the past that, hey, this guy wasn't supposed to be parts forming, but the plastic we were using was too brittle, so we just said, you know what, let's just make him a parts former. The alternate mode, it's well, I honestly don't know. It's a repaint of Cliffjumper, who is a different car, and it's not a Camaro due to licensing issues, and it's the wrong shape to be a Volkswagen Beetle, and it's clearly not a hatchback. So as far as resembling a real-world car for a Bumblebee, I can't really point down what it was, but I'm sure somebody down below can point to me what this specific Bumblebee turns into, because, again, I could be very wrong on everything about the inspiration for this figure. Overall, this is a really good figure. I don't know where this thing draws its inspiration from. Like, I'm having a really hard time. And I probably could have done a lot more research to figure that out and put together a more cohesive thing for this. But, hey, it's the billionth Bumblebee that I own in my collection, and I don't really feel like digging through all the continuities for Bumblebee to figure out where this specific design came from for this specific thing. Too much Bumblebee for me. But I still like it. I give it an 8 out of 10. That's really all I have, so make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you're so inclined, please follow my social media pages down below in the description. And with that, I hope you guys all have a fantastic day, week, month, life, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!